All right. Okay, teachers, thank you so much for being here. My name is Anna, and I'm going to be your moderator. I will introduce you to these two amazing teachers. They are Orlando Nieto and Marcelo Andrade. Um, Marcelo is a full-time professor at Universidad Austral de Chile. He has a BA in English language and a master's degree in higher education. He has been a team leader for the Cambridge English exam, an ELT material writer in the areas of reading and phonetics, a teacher trainer, and a speaker in some international ELT conferences. Orlando is also a full-time professor at Universidad Austral de Chile. He has a BA in education, a BA in English language, and a master's degree in applied linguistics. He has been a teacher trainer, a speaker in some ELT conferences, and has been interested in reading comprehension for more than 10 years. Marcelo and Orlando are the creators of two greater readers, and in the workshops, the creation process of the books, the use of literature circles, the literature circles methodology, the comprehension model underlying the activities in the readers, and how target text for specific students will be covered. So teachers, thank you so much for being here. I will leave you with Orlando and Marcelo.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, let's start. Right now, well, in the morning we talked about, how we created these two graded readers, Chilean graded readers, and how to use them with the literature circles methodology. And now we're going to explain, before that, I want to show you some things. The books, for some of you don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to show you the link to those books. What we did is to create this, and behind the books, okay, if you want to use them, it's for free. If you want to use the activities, etc., there is a reading comprehension model. Okay, there's a basis for all the activities that we did in these graded readers. So the workshop aims today are two. Number one is to familiarize with that, model that has three mental representation levels of comprehension. And the model was created by Van Dijk and Kinch in 1983. And second, the opportunity for you to create some questions that aim at each of these representational or comprehension levels. Okay, so these are our books. Right? One is called Myths and Legends from Chiloé, and the other one is the Mapuche Culture. And that's the link. Marcelo has already written it on the chat, so you can visit those. Okay, and you can download both. You can download the activities and everything. It's for free for you to use. So now we're going to explain, all right, the model, the reading comprehension model behind the questions. All right, hopefully we get this idea through successfully. So as I said, the authors of the model are Theon van Dijk and Walter Kinch, a linguist and a psychologist, those two guys right there. And they said that comprehension, right, involves the information of the text, but also the prior knowledge of the reader. So that's why this reading model is interactive. Okay, the information from the text and what you know about the topics being discussed in a text interacts for you to get better comprehension. And they say that there are three levels of mental representation. The first one is literal. So whenever you read something and then you say the same thing exactly with the same words, that's the surface code. Then the text space, in which you have to work with the text, connect parts of the text, or at the global level summarize the text, get the main ideas, etc. It's a little more inferential. And then the situation model, they say that if you create a situation model or a new one, or you improve the ones that you have, then real comprehension has taken place. It's more extra textual, not necessarily in the text, and more inferential. Okay, we're going to revise the three levels. Number one is surface code, very, very, easy. This is from the text that we created, this one from the Mapuche culture. And for example, question number 2 is, what is Atrape la Cucha? And this is very literal. You go, to the question, what is Atrape la Cucha? And then you go to the text, and the answer is right there. Atrape la Cucha is. So very literal. You don't need much, comprehension in order to do that. I teach my students to look for the words in the questions. For example, the question number 3 down there is, what do the links in the chains? So look for the words in the question, and you will find the links in the chains. Take from the capital letter and then to the period, right? And that's your answer. That's how you answer that. Very easy and very successful. Most textbooks have these kinds of questions, which are, of course, literal questions, usually true or false, or different kinds of questions, but they are very literal, okay? They are aiming at the first representation level, the surface code. Then we have the text space, which is a little more difficult because it has 2 levels. And also, you need to understand the genre, the superstructure, if it is argumentative, narrative, etc. And we have 2 levels right there. The global level, or the summary. Whenever someone asks you to summarize a text, okay, you need to, for example, that question aims at that paragraph. What is, the main idea, or what is the second paragraph about? So you need to read that and then come up with less information than in the paragraph and the gist. Okay, that's at the global level. And in the text base, you can also work with the local level. For example, vocabulary, connections between the vocabulary, between the ideas of the text. In this case, we have, for example, what do the phrases or terms, the latter and the former, refer to? You have them there. And in this case, the students have to connect to other parts of the text. You have to read before, because the latter is the supernatural powers, and the former, are the natural parts right there. Okay, so the number 5, for example, what does the underlined word which, on line 21 refer to? We will go to that text right there. You have which. Well, if you read the central, okay, and Earth's name is Nagmapu, which is the So which refers to the Nagmapu, which is the central Earth in the Mapuche worldview. They have the skies, the central is where we live, and then like the underworld. Okay, so in this level of representation, we have questions about individual ideas and the relationship or the organization of the text, the type and the genre. You need to understand the difference between a biography and a novel, or a fable and, for example, an instructive text. All right, and some of the things that you have there, and it implies, all right, inferential processes right here. You need to know, that this he, this for example, pronoun goes with some characters that have been mentioned before or after, etc. Okay, so
Orlando,
yes.
so sorry to interrupt. Julian asked, is this similar to the question-answer relationship? I have used that with my students very successfully.
Well, this is not a strategy for education. This is a work that Van Dijk and Kinch did, some research psychologically, how cognitively the people, understand texts. All right, and from that we derive these kinds of questions. Of course, the question-answer relationship may be a strategy coming out of this, because this model has been used in, I've seen it, in many things. So I think this is a spin-off, the question and answer relationship. Yes, it has something to do, but actually these 2 authors are explaining how we understand a text and how we deal with the idea units right there. Okay, so now we're telling you how to make the questions. Okay, and then the situation model. all right, which is a little more difficult for students. For example, the question says the Spanish conquerors arrived or came to Chile in 1541. And then the question is this legend, was this legend created before or after that event? And there is no mention of that date in the text. All right. So it's like, teacher, the information is not here. But what they have to do is to take the information and then do some cognitive, workings and my prior knowledge, and find the information necessary to come up with an inference. So it says, when no white man had still set foot on this land. Okay, meaning that this legend was created before, all right, 1541, because that's when the white men arrived for the first time in Chile. Okay, so they have to make that interaction between the information in the text and the cognitive workings. In the second one, well, how, in your opinion, how did Kitralpi kill or take the heart out of the princess? And it only says he opened her chest and took the heart out. So you need to go into your background knowledge and how can you open up the chest of a person. And well, here, as you can see, there are many different possible answers, because it could be a knife, it could be a spear, it could be, I don't know, a sharp stone, an axe, whatever, is okay. So this is also difficult to evaluate for teachers because there are many possibilities. It's open to whatever the students say, but they have to take the information from the text. Okay, yeah, it's also critical thinking thing. So questions here are a point at more inferential things. Okay, they include inferential processes and require prior knowledge for you to answer them. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples with this text that I created. Look at that, read it. In Canada, birds sing in spring. The rest of the year, they migrate to warmer and more tropical places. I'm going to show you some questions per level of representation. For example, these four right here. Okay. Where do birds sing? Who sings in spring? What do birds do? When do birds sing in Canada? And you can see that they are literal. I mean, it's right there. Actually, these four questions can be answered with that single sentence. All right, it's very easy. So if my students write that, it's right there. Where? In Canada. Who? The birds. What? Sing. When? In spring. And that's the proper answer. Same with here. When do birds migrate to warmer and more tropical places? You look for it, and they migrate to warmer and more the rest of the year, right? So very easy. Text-based is a little different. Here we have questions like, for example, what does the underlined word they mean? And they have to come up with the word birds. Of course, here the only plural noun is birds, but imagine Little Red Riding Hood when it says Little Red Riding Hood lived with her mother and visited her grandmother. She is like, okay, the grandmother, the mother of Little Red Riding Hood. It's more difficult there. Okay, we need to more context clues. And how many things do birds do in the text? It doesn't say. However, if birds sing and they migrate, you have to make the inference that they do two things. Other things are things like this. In this text, migrate means something. It means flying. Okay, and then you can explain to your students that migration can be by walking, as we see with many, in Latin America, what's going on nowadays, some with the people, all right, etc. So it's not the only way migration, because they usually say going from one place to another. Yeah, but in this text is going from one place to another, but by flying, because it's birds. What is the text about? They need to understand everything. They cannot tell you in Canada birds sing in spring, the rest of the year they migrate to warmer and more tropical places. They usually do that. So no, what is it about? The main idea, it's about birds and what they do. See, that's it. And then the genre. For example, they need to know that this is a description, it's not a biography, it's not a piece of news, all right? And the kind of text, is it narrative, argumentative, instructive, and expository? In this case, it is an expository text, okay? And the title, this is something that you always find in, books. Give this text a title. Well, this is because you are asking the students to make up, summarize the whole text, and that will give you the opportunity to, or the chance to give it a title, right? And then the situation model. I want you to help me out here with these questions, all right? See if you can help me. Between what dates do birds sing in Canada? Okay, I have Canadian people or American people right here, but between what dates do birds sing in Canada? Can you answer in the chat, please? This is situation model. Let's see if you can create a situation model.
Yes, please feel free to write in the chat. Maybe some of you can activate your
microphone. March, May, in spring, in September. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other? Come on. Let's
exercise.
Consuelo, Aurora, you were from the Southern Hemisphere, right? A country from the Southern Hemisphere.
In Peru.
In Peru from the 23rd of September to 21st of December. Very good.
Yes.
All right. Next question. Okay. Of the countries in the list, which countries would birds not migrate to? Norway, Greenland, Cuba, Russia, and the Dominican Republic. They wouldn't migrate to. Just write the letters X, Z, Y. They would not migrate to A. Yeah, okay, good. You can check more. D. Russia. A, B, D. Okay, we have a Julian. C, Cuba. All right. All right. We'll cover all that later. And then number 3, according to the text, what direction do birds migrate to? From north to south or from south to north? A or B?
Excellent.
A. Good. So as you can see, you need lots of prior knowledge, world knowledge or domain knowledge in order to get a better understanding of a text. Well, we as teachers need to provide that if we know that our students do not know something. For example, to answer these questions, you need this information. Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere are different. So when the seasons in the Southern Hemisphere are autumn, winter, spring and summer, you need to know that in the Northern Hemisphere, they are the opposite. So we have spring, summer, and then autumn and winter. If you want to know between what dates did, birds sing in Canada, they were in spring. That means that we were in autumn. So in the Southern Hemisphere, it's autumn. And that's from the 21st of March to the 21st of June, I think. April, and June. Okay? So those are the dates. See, you need to, it's not the autumn in the Southern Hemisphere because this is in Canada. All right? For example, and then the second one, you need to know that there are 2 tropics and on a map, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and whatever is in this pink, stripe right there is tropical. Even African, even Asian countries. Usually we think of the tropic as, I don't know, Belize or Cuba, etc. So they would not migrate to Greenland, to Russia, and to Norway because they are out of this. And of course, you need to know that Canada is north of, this tropical strip. Okay, so the migration in this text is from north to south. Now, as you can see, You can answer the questions. It's more difficult, but you need prior knowledge. And here my last example, and this is what I want to make you understand, is that the situation model is that whenever I read, I have to imagine or make a mental representation of the situation that the text is talking about. For example, Rafael Nadal stood with his racket in his left hand. I have asked my students, and usually my students come up with this situation model. This is perfect. This is okay. However, the depth of their comprehension is not at the level that I want them to. Because the real situation should be this one, for example. Rafael Nadal is not, right here standing every time like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction is like, no, the situation where Rafael Nadal will be or would be is this one. So now we can answer more difficult questions. For example, mention one of the possible surfaces on which Rafael Nadal is standing. The grass, if he's playing Wimbledon, I don't know, this one, or cement. How many people, the least number of people that are with him? Well, the opponent and the umpire, 3 or 2 more people. So when you only have this situation model, right, it's a smaller one. So your comprehension is not as deep as when you make these kinds of situation models. This is the idea that we want to get through. Okay, so those are the things. Now Marcelo, I can see you, is going to continue with this, and now you're going to use this with the texts.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being in this session. Well, Orlando has explained the 3 levels of comprehension or mental representation. Now we're going to put this into practice. We're going to use the model in different, in a couple of activities, really, just to showing just a question per level. So if you look at the next slide, okay, we're going to be using the book, which is on this website that we already put on the chat. All right, but I'm going to okay, there it is again, for those of you who joined later, and we're going to be using page 31 of this book. If you enter the website, you'll see at the bottom of the website there's the cover of the book. If you click on the cover, you will be able to download the book, the whole book. All right, so we'll go to page 31, and there is a section where they talk about Mapuche ceremonies. So we'll be using that. So if you can enter that, do you have it?
Marcelo, I'm trying to access the link, but it says that I cannot access to the website. I don't know if anyone is having any problems with the link. Please let us know.
Sorry, the thing is, Orlando enter.
Mine is not correct. Andrade,
Okay,
it's Wix site. Sorry, it's missing an X.
It's with 1 H only.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, 1 H.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
The idea is for all of you to be able to have it, so you can work with Marcelo. All right. Sorry, Marcelo. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, it's okay. So I posted there again. Anyway, just 1 H again. Okay. Anyway, so
right there.
If you go to page 31 of the book, which is, it talks about Mapuche ceremonies. And can you access now? Access?
Mapuche ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like this one where you have a photo of a group of Mapuche people and ceremonies are down here. We're showing the text on screen just for you to have it, but it will be on page 31 and 32. on the book, below the photo of the group of people.
If you click on the image of the book, you can download it. It will open in a separate tab, and you download it from there.
Yes, please.
Orlando, are you projecting, or because
Yes,
I
I
can't
am.
see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I am. It's right there. Activity 1, and now Mapuche ceremonies and the 3 questions. Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
I can see it.
Good. Yes.
Well, I can't. So, Orlando, could you continue? I have a network
All right. So
error.
if you are already in the Mapuche ceremonies text, 31 and 32, we have a question for the surface code. What are 3 traditional rituals of the Mapuche people? Okay, that's the first question. It's surface code. Okay, then text base. What is the name of the ritual to cure someone from an illness? What is the name of the ritual to cure someone from an illness? Eddie, good. Okay, surface code is, if you teach this to your students, they are the same, very quick with surface code. Now with text-based and situation model is a little trickier. And then the situation model question is, what season is the we tripantu in? This is how you pronounce it. The TX, it should be like a TR, we tripantu. We tripantu. Okay, so those are the 3. We'll give you a couple of minutes. Surface code is already done. Let's see how you do with the text base and situation model question. The idea here is that you get a feeling of how the different questions, require different cognitive and more linguistic processing of the texts. See, the surface code is really quick, really easy. You can create handouts with 100, questions, and they are really fast. And I mean, I've taught in 7th grades, to university students, and it's always the same. Age doesn't matter, level doesn't matter. They just learn, okay, this word is in the question, and I go, and they're very quick. And usually when I do this, I give them like 30 questions, and they have to work for quite a long time, and then I go around and check that they are doing the same thing. And sometimes it's like, pero profe, aquí dice osmosis, pero no sé si la osmosis, porque aquí dice, and they start translating, without noticing. It's like, I don't know, is it or not? It's like, I don't know. So in the end, I just, because I watch them work so hard, it's like, okay, everybody has a 7, like acumulativa or formative, and everybody is happy. But they were their, necks off. Okay, Marcelo. Can you see the...
No, I'm sorry, I can't see. It might be my connection, I guess. Could you please?
Yes, because I can see that your camera is on, but sometimes you go gray.
Yeah. But you have the PowerPoint, so open it and go from there. I will change the
What
slides.
is the name of the ritual to cure some from?
I'm sorry, Liliana, can you repeat, please?
Oh. I forgot that my mic was open. Sorry.
Don't worry.
She's answering the questions. Great.
Yeah, she is. I was like, okay, you want to answer? Go for it.
Okay, so we were looking at the questions of the surface code, and what about the next one, the text base, which is there? Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so what's the name of the ritual to cure someone from an illness?
Okay, Eddie Wamakayo says
Uh-huh.
machitun because it is like another way to cure people. It could be called as traditional medicine. He's adding stuff. See,
Uh-huh.
here we
Yeah.
have more
Yeah,
background
you're
knowledge.
right. I guess you're using your knowledge about the culture. If you look at the text and make connections between the words inside the text, so what tells you that it's Matitun in the text? There are connections, words that are related, and we have to make
Okay,
connections
Julian says
inside.
machitun.
Yes,
Mhm.
I was gonna say Julian just says machitun.
No? Okay. All right. Yes. So Julian says the former and the latter. That's the thing. So we have the word former, and we have two elements. So the former tells you that it's matitun and not the others.
Lepuntun.
Right. So basically, that's the what this level of mental representation does is you have to connect ideas or words inside the text. Right. That's the same as when you have like for example, pronouns that refers to certain objects, or when it says, for example, it, or sometimes this, and you have to go back to the text and see what it means, right? And the last one, what season is where tripanto in? So, okay, Eddie has already answered.
Eddie
And
is on
that's,
fire.
Winter,
okay.
yeah, it is on fire.
Mhm.
Any other possibilities? Anyone? Of course, Eddie, I think he's from Peru, so
No, Eddie is from Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken.
Bolivia?
Yes, I think
Well,
so.
Bolivia, Peru, Chile, Argentina. Yeah, we have a
We're all the same.
Mhm.
Well, not the same, but we are connected.
yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so why is it winter? Okay, how can you say that it is in winter? I don't see the word winter in the text. Anyone? Oh,
Okay.
some.
So,
Yes,
okay.
Leanne, you have
Knowledge
to
from
draw
the web.
knowledge of the world. Okay, what is that knowledge?
What? Yeah. What are
What
the
knowledge do
cues
you
in the
need
text?
to activate in it? Seasons, okay. And where in the text do you have the seasons? Seasons and dates in the Southern Hemisphere. So what data or what information did you get in the text in order to say it's winter? Where in the text is that information? Yeah, but the specific, excellent.
June 24th.
Yeah, see, it says that it is the 24th of June. And then you have to connect that.
Also, you have to know that we are talking about Chile, which is in the southern hemisphere, and it matches, this season, in that date. So basically, that's what Julian says. We're using the word knowledge to answer that, which is one of the characteristics of situation model, right? Now, what we are going to do next is to.
Can I say something, Marcelo, before?
Right?
Now, this is important when you evaluate or assess your students or give grades, okay? Because sometimes, situation models are harder. So I give them 2 points instead of 1 for text-based or surface code, all right? And second, it's not only that they have to tell me winter, okay? Yeah, I'm happy with that, but they need to tell me what piece of information they took in order to answer this, because sometimes they accidentally say in winter. Why? And they say they take some things, some information, and then that they are not understanding the text, and it was like serendipity, it was like accidental. All right, so careful with that. They need to say, okay, give you the right answer, but at the same time, where in the text did you get the information? Okay, Marcelo.
Okay, so now we'll do another activity, which is asking questions based on these different levels. For that, we have to take into account some questions that you might ask. Right, as it says there, questions. What questions to ask? If you look at surface code, as Orlando already explained, you have literal questions, normally true or false questions. They could also be about vocabulary, grammar, for example. And in relation to text-based, we have 3 levels, which is the microstructure, which is like the connection between different ideas, as we had
or
just
local level.
The local, which means the local level, as Orlando already explained before, between the difference between local and global level. Microstructure is the local level, which is the relationship between
global.
I mean, I'm talking about microstructure, which is microstructure, which is the local level, and macrostructure, which is the global level, and which is like the general idea of the text, which is paragraph 1, for example, what is it about, or what is the text about in general. So those are like general, right? And then we can also have other type of questions which deal with superstructure, which has to do with the kind of text, the genre, and the type of text that is. You can see there. Those are some type of questions you might ask. And also in relation to situation model, you can use your information, right? And also the other type of information is, do you think it's a good idea or bad idea or something? So they have to infer some things, and they are related. The information is related to the text, of course. An example from Little Red Riding Hood, for example, you can ask, in your opinion, was it a good or bad idea that Little Red Riding Hood took a shortcut in the forest? If you can say yes or no, but your reason has to be based on the information in the text. So if you say yes, you have to be based on the text, all right, or the opposite. So that's important to support your answer with the text and not with your knowledge of the word necessarily, or something which is not connected. We have to use the word knowledge, but also to make a connection with what we read, right? So basically, yes, those are the ideas of asking questions in the 3 levels, right?
Okay, can I add something? Well, I just included a link in the chat, lecturacomprension.wordpress.com. That's a blog I wrote some time ago, and it explains in Spanish, though, the whole model with examples and text, etc. So you can go there. It's for free too. All the information starts from the oldest posts to the latter ones. Okay, the latest ones, please. And that's there are lots of articles right there that explain this model. Okay, so the activity, Marcelo, was?
The activity is to create 1 question for each comprehension level. So I like you to use the text there, which has to do with one of the Mapuche objects, the kultrum, right? It's a percussion instrument. You can read that from the book, or you can also see it from the PowerPoint there. And I left some space there with some questions. So you can think about, based on what we have just said, think about 1 question per level. So I'll ask you to do that for some minutes. I don't know if we have enough time now, but let's see.
You have like 5 minutes for this activity, and then
questions.
15 for
questions.
Yes.
Good.
All right. We can have a look at your answers while you are thinking about them. You can put them on the chat, and then we can be looking
the questions.
at them. Yeah, the questions, and we can be looking at them.
In this case, the answer is a question.
Yeah, the answer is a question. Right.
So we will be taking your questions, answers, either in the chat, or please feel free to talk to us.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Julianne started. For surface code, what are some ceremonies where the, forgive my pronunciation, salt song is used?
Kultrung. Kultrung.
Kultrung. Okay, sorry,
Yes,
my bad.
kultrung.
Kultrung is used as a surface code question.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Literal there. You have the three answers in the middle of the paragraph, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Very good. Okay.
All right. Eddie says, what's the meaning of membranophone?
Membranophones. Those are the instruments that are made with a membrane, usually drums. Okay, the membrane means the rawhide of an animal. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
drums in general.
the surface code question.
Yeah.
Okay. We can.
Oh, I thought you were.
Sorry, I should have said surface code question. My bad.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Because of
So
time, I think
you got the idea of surface code questions. Now you can do that, with any text, not only this. Now you can invent your own texts or questions. Now let's go to the text base. What would you ask?
Everybody's thinking.
Remember, you can ask about three things: the local level, the global level, and the superstructure or the genre or text types.
All right. Julian says, what can we infer about the meaning of the name Kawinkura?
Kawinkura.
Kawinkura. Okay. Consuelo, Liliana, if you like to as well, you're welcome to participate. Everybody, it's not just.
So what can we infer? What does the word lonco mean?
No. Okay.
Yeah, you're learning Mapudungun too. This is the language of the Mapuche people. So.
Yeah.
Correct, right? So both are text-based. So you need to understand that lonco refers to something else.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Great.
Anyone else would like to share their text-based? Okay.
No? Yes? Okay, and how about the situation model question?
We're thinking.
Yeah, this is
Okay, Liliana says, what symbolizes the earth as the situation model or the text? Oh, for the text base. Yeah, I was like, for the text base, what symbolizes the earth? All right.
Yeah, because it says these symbolize the earth. So you need to understand these, what they were, what does the word these refer to? Good. Yes. Excellent, Marcela. Yes. Liliana, sorry. See, now you are making your students understand the words, but also, the relationships. Marcela, okay.
Okay, Consuelo says, why do they wear special clothes during ceremonies?
Is that surface code?
Or it's like situation model is taking its toll.
Yeah, I think you are making that question out of the photograph, I think. Not sure it's the special clothes.
I think it's
Is in
about
the
the
text.
first. I think it's about the first text, Mapuche ceremonies.
Ah, Mapuche ceremonies. Okay.
That's why they're asking about lonco and
I was intrigued about the Lonco and I started reading. Then I was like, where is it? Is it
Yeah,
in
me
previous-
too. It's like it's on the other one. Okay, so as you can see, situation model questions are harder. Okay, because you need to understand the text. Okay, and then try to come up with those. Anyone with a situation question? Marcelo, do you have one?
Yeah, many.
Okay, Liliana. Marcela says, do you think that the stones change the sound of the culture?
Great, that's great. Yeah, see, it's not here in the text, but I have to imagine and make a mental representation of that. So I have to imagine, okay, how the controlling, what's the shape of the controlling, and if I put stones inside, okay, without the stones, how does it sound? And with the stones, does that change? That's a great question. Yes. Well, and someone can say no, and why not? Well, it should be right here in the text, right? Excellent question. Yes. So, for example, an easy situation model question that I come up with is, it is the most representative percussion instrument of the Mapuche people. That's the first line. It is the most representative percussion instrument of the Mapuche people. So my question is the kultrung the only percussion instrument, or are there other instruments in the Mapuche culture? It doesn't say. However, it says that it is the most representative. So it means there must be at least another instrument, right? Those are the easiest. Marcelo?
I guess we have just 8 minutes. I don't know if there are questions about this topic. Perhaps we can leave this time like open to questions, maybe. I don't know if they can put it in the Q&A or just there on the chat.
There's another right
Yeah,
there. What
Eddie went for it. He said, "What a name is the culture called
Kultrung.
in the Andean region?"
Okay, so I guess Eddie has kind in Bolivia. You have a kind of drum too. What's the name of that?
But he's asking, "Is this okay as a situational model? Situation model, sorry." Hello.
Okay, I think it is, but you need to tie it to. But why the Andean region?
Right.
Because I think the answer is it's still Kultrun doesn't exist in the Andean region. If you think of the Andean region, the north of Chile, Bolivia, Peru, right? Because there aren't any Mapuches there.
Exactly.
So probably you are thinking of a drum from the Bolivian area, and that's like a similar instrument. Perhaps that's the idea. So I guess we would need a little more.
Okay, Julian, as a
Great,
situation
Julian.
says,
Yes.
"Can you name another percussion instrument with religious significance from your culture?"
Yes, that's wonderful. Yeah, and then you have Peruvian, Bolivian, Inca, Maya, and I'm sure they have their own percussion instruments with religious significances. Yes, you got the idea. Okay, wonderful. That's what we wanted to get through. Okay, so this is okay. We did it, and that's it. Marcelo, I don't know how you want to close.
I just wanted to ask you because I saw a question at the beginning of the Julian made a question at the beginning of the session, and she was asking about the relationship between QAR and this model. So I think it's very similar. At least if you look at QAR, they have like the same levels and with different names, but I think that still there are many similarities. Yeah, I just wanted to answer that that I saw on the chat. Okay, I don't know if there are any other questions because
Yes,
just wanted
we are open for questions now, teachers. If you have any, you can write it on the QA section, on the chat. You can welcome to join us with your microphones regarding the topic of this session.
So the idea, to wrap up, it was to give you, the fundamentals or the basis of the questions in this text, but also to give you a tool to, point at some comprehension levels when you make questions, okay, from the model that we show you. Okay. Thank you, Julian. So now you can, if the text is, you think that your students do not have much background information, then go to surface code questions, for example. Or if you want to make them really think critically, then go to the situation model questions, right? Thank you, Eddie. Yes. Yes, you can put it into practice and with any text. And if you go and revise your textbooks, the textbooks that we use, on a daily basis, you will find out that most of the questions they have are surface code. Okay, so it's like, I expected more.
Yeah.